Hey everybody, in this video I want to start going in because we're getting into the off season. I want to start doing some in-depth analysis of the swing and talk about some key things that we see from a biomechanical standpoint that will help you with your golf swing. Hey everybody, Scott Hogan coming at you. We're in the studio, and I'm actually doing some of the work that I do on a consistent basis, but I thought I would share it with you because this is something I think is going to be exciting. You're going to see a lot coming out about this stuff, but one of the things about golf swings is you have to look at a swing and start looking at, all right, hey, how are you moving through a swing, and how do golf pros, like myself, how do we actually learn about all this stuff so we can then teach our players or help you out here with videos and things like that. So we're gonna go a little bit into that. Before we do, make sure you check out again that sale and all the Flight Scope stuff that ends on Sunday. So make sure if you're gonna get a device, you get 15% off the regular Mevo, you get 10% off the Mevo Plus. Make sure you check that out. I will link those both down below, along with all the other stuff that I'm seeing for the holidays, so don't miss out on that stuff. All right, so first off, I want to introduce a really cool piece of technology that's come out. So this isn't new necessarily to the golf instruction world, except for how we're capturing it is getting pretty exciting. So there's always been something called 3D, right? And that is just the fact that we live in a 3D world. And so what has always happened in golf instruction, where golf instruction can get a little bit hard, is it is very difficult to look at a swing on a 2D camera and be able to analyze it correctly. So it can be done, but a lot of times you have to do some studying of what is going on actually in a 3D world and then apply it to that 2D image. So one of the things that we've always done, I've been studying it for over 10 years now, and it's something that you'll see a lot of, like Golf Tech does it, right? They have their sensors, if anybody's been there. They don't do it with everything, but they have where they measure your hips and your shoulders. And I've used K-Vest. They actually have one on the grip. That's even a little bit better, or that's actually on your lead hand. But I used a system called AMM, and that is where you had sensors and wires and all that. And that was very, very, a lot of knowledge, and a lot of pros use that system, but it's very cumbersome. It would actually be about 45 minutes where you would go and actually have to get wired in, and then they would make a model of you and all that, and it was really cumbersome to use before you ever hit a golf ball. Plus, hitting with all the wires wasn't the most comfortable. And then we started getting a little bit more mobile. I had a system called 4D Motion, which had just these little sensors, and that was great, but you still have to calibrate it. You still have to get the body positions correct. You got to wear these garments, and it's just not as easy. Well, what's coming out now with all of the technology with phones and LiDAR and AI is you have what's called markerless 3D. So markerless 3D is very simple, and the one I'm going to show you, everybody's really excited about this to check it out because there's a lot of big name investors in it, is called Sportsbox AI. So not sponsored or anything. I just think this is really cool technology. Just wanted to share it with you and then give you a little bit of something that you can take away with your golf swing. So this software takes a face on. I have right here, I have a face on of my swing that I loaded up. Okay, and there it is up on the top. I'm not sure why it's so dark, but it catches it and it knows what's going on. But you can see my swing, and then it takes that and it builds the model of the golf swing. And from that, it can create this 3D world where it actually sees my swing from all of these different angles, right, as we go. So I'm going to take this out. Let's go from the target. There we go. It's really interesting. I'm not even sure how they do it. Obviously, that's not my thing, but really, really cool stuff. And so what it does then is it gets you to start looking at some numbers. Now, you have to be very careful with some of these numbers because it gets very, very easy to say, oh, look at that and look at how you are doing this. But I need that number to improve. But in reality, you have to know what you're doing as far as influencing the numbers and how all the numbers relate to get them to work how you want. So I'll go over one of the examples here in just a second. So as we're going through the swing, it's really cool to see this. It's only for coaches. You have to prove that you're a coach. You have to kind of apply for it and all that right now. It's not the cheapest thing in the world, even for a coach to use. So we'll see if I keep using it. But I like it so far. It's actually a really cool tool. But one of the things that I like about using technology like this to look at a swing is you can actually start pointing out some things that kind of go through some fallacies in the golf instruction world. So let's talk a little bit about hitting the ball fat, okay, or making poor contact at impact. And I also want to talk about flipping at impact as we go. So one of the things that I see people do as they're working on their swing is when they're catching the ball with poor contact, what they try to do is actually they try and stay down on the ball, right? They're always like, oh, I'm going to stay down. I'm going to hit down, and I'm going to keep my head down. I'm going to keep my chest down. And in reality, when we start looking at all of these numbers, I'm actually going to take a couple of these out just so we can see a key number, which is lift. What we actually see is really good players, they are not at all trying to stay down. So you're going to see a number here called lift on the screen, okay? And what lift is, imagine you are starting at the start of your swing. You're at 0 lift, right? You are just staying right where you are. And lift is how much up or down you're moving. So if the number is positive, it's moving up. If it's negative, you're moving down, okay? So I want to show you a couple of numbers here as we go through a swing. So you can see in my swing, as I lift up, okay, or as I go back, my chest actually is lifting up 1 inch. Okay, so let's look at how a tour player would do at this. So one thing that they see is, for a tour player, they actually don't lift up as much on the way back. So I'm kind of standing up. I'm not turning enough. There's also some bend issues in my swing. I can talk about that later. But I need to work on that. I'm actually kind of rocking up a little bit and getting high as I go back. So that's something I could look at. But what that's going to lead to down at the bottom is when I go down, that's okay. Because when I go down at the bottom, one of the big things that people try to do is they try to lower down into impact with their golf swing. And what we actually see as people are going through to hit the ball, I'm going to bring up the tour player again. So you saw the tour player, like their chest, right? They were lowering their chest as they were going back. Very, very small, but they were lowering it. As they're going through, they're actually going up. See how they're going up 0.4 inches, okay? Their pelvis is going up 0.5 inches. So their knee, look at their lead knee, is going up. So their lead side, their pelvis, their chest is all working up through the swing. And so as I look through my swing, I'm actually lifting up as I go through, but I'm actually lifting up a little bit more than I probably want to. So that's something that I could start to look at and say, hey, that's actually probably a reason why, if I look at what's going on in my swing, I have some rotation issues. I could probably work a little bit more on being a little bit less up and down in my swing, but being a little bit more rotational. That's something I could look at. Again, there's some bend things and there's other things that are going to impact that, but a really cool tool to start looking at. And when we start looking at this, the first thing I'm always going to tell people is, when you're going through and trying to hit a golf ball, I want you to be thinking about pushing your hips up, working your chest up, and don't try to stay down on that golf ball. That's not what is happening. The other thing that's going to show us this, just for a little bit of look at what's going on, you can look at how when we get to the impact, right? We get to impact, what we're going to see is we're going to see players not bending nearly as far forward as they were at address. So we look here, this is a player that when we look at bend is just how far forward you're bending. So positive is more, negative is less. So let's look at address. See how our player here, they're bent forward 20 degrees on average, 32. When they get to impact, they have way less bend forward. They're bending less forward, so they're feeling like they're coming through, going through and extending out and getting rid of that bend. They don't want to be down at the ball, facing down at the ball. So it's a really cool thing that I like to show people as you're going through a swing. I want you to feel like you're getting up through impact and seeing how you can help out your game. So that's going to really help your contact. It's a cool idea, and I think something that you're going to want to check out. So a really cool piece of technology. This is something I'm going to be adding into my online coaching arsenal. If you're interested in having your swing analyzed and looked at from a 3D perspective, make sure you go to scotthogangolf.com, reach out. We can definitely take you through one, give you some looks at it and see what's going on and help you make some decisions about what you're going to be wanting to work on in your golf swing this off season. So if you have questions about it, comment down below. I think I'm going to do a little bit more of this 3D because I think it really can help people. And instead of just saying, hey, do this or look at what they're doing, I want to explain things and show it in a more comprehensive way so you have an idea of what's going on. So if you have questions, please let me know. If you have comments, you like it, don't like it, comment down below too. But I think a really cool way to look at the swing and help you get better. So that's what we're going to do. Thanks everybody for tuning in. We'll catch you in the next video. Peace.